where her husband and her children lived in her constituency in Redditch. That provoked a great deal of controversy and was followed shortly by the news that her husband had claimed for 2 adult films that had been used on expenses. This meant that Jacqui Smith suffered 2 major blows from the whole expenses crisis, and she had widely been seen to be very vulnerable to reshuffle. Now, that reshuffle is expected by many to come either at the end of this week or at the beginning of next week, sometime after the local elections in England and the European election results are out. In a sense, this doesn't come as a surprise because it was thought that she would be moved, possibly asked to stand down before being moved. I suppose what might be surprising is the way in which this news has leaked out. It may be that Miss Smith has wanted this to come out so that she's shown in a way to be taking the initiative to be standing down rather than being pushed.
But if this is confirmed, she will be the biggest casualty of the expenses scandal so far, and this is going to provide the Prime Minister with quite a headache, isn't it?
It could be. It must be remembered, I suppose, that the last time the Prime Minister carried out a reshuffle, it was largely applauded because of the bold and completely surprising move of bringing Peter Mandelson, his old arch enemy, back into cabinet. So on his fairly brief track record so far, he has been seen to do pretty well. The circumstances now, of course, though, are very, very different, with Westminster completely engulfed by this expenses crisis. And yes, Jacqui Smith's head would, as you say, be a very big one. She would be a big loss. Having said that, people expected that she would be vulnerable anyway. I must just say that speaking to the BBC in an interview, the Prime Minister was also asked about 2 other cabinet ministers who are in the headlines today, the Transport Secretary Jeff Hoon and the Chancellor Alistair Darling. He said that they were both doing a good job, but when pushed as to whether they were going to be safe in a reshuffle, he wouldn't say.
Let me just say, in the last couple of minutes, we've got new information. Jacqui Smith apparently, according to the Press Association, told Prime Minister 2 months ago that she wanted to step down as the Home Secretary in the next reshuffle. I mean, whatever happens, this is going to be a pretty wide-ranging reshuffle, it now looks like.
Yes, it could well be, yes. There's all sorts of speculation that Alistair Darling, the Chancellor, is vulnerable. Speculation in the papers today that it might be the chance for the Prime Minister to put in his long-time ally, Ed Balls, the School Secretary, as Chancellor. He was asked today if he was, in fact, going to be the next Chancellor, Ed Balls. He declined to comment, of course. There is speculation, too, over Jeff Hoon. I think Gordon Brown has done his best, in a way, to say of Mr. Hoon and Mr. Darling that they have dealt with the accusations made. They have admitted that they overclaimed on their expenses. They've paid the money back, and that's that. But there is still a question over the political future of both men. Mr. Darling in particular, I think, partly because of the way in which he handled the whole affair.
Rita Chakrabarti with the latest there from Westminster. Thank you very much. And of course, there will be plenty more on that story throughout the afternoon as it develops. Well, staying with politics, how do you rebuild trust in Parliament if half the population of the UK thinks the House of Commons is corrupt? That's what the